Welcome back to our Python programming series. In today's video, we will be diving into the fascinating world of the variables and assignment statements. So let's jump right in. In Python, variables are incredibly useful for storing and manipulating data. They act as containers that hold various types of information. Think of them as pointers or references that allow us to easily work with data. Let's explore how we can create variables and assign values to them. To create a variable, all we need to do is choose a name for it and use the assignment symbol to assign a value. For example, let's create a variable named age and assign it the value of 25. Then we will print the value of the variable in the console. To execute the code, simply click the play button in the top right corner. As you can see, the code was executed and the result is 25. That's exact value we assigned to the variable age. Now let's create another variable called name and assign it a string value enclosed in quotes, which is Mike. Then we'll print it out. After executing this code, the console will display Mike. So now we have two variables created and the code was successfully executed. Now that you have successfully completed your first variable execution, let's take a closer look at what's happening behind the scenes with variables and what Python is actually doing. First, we create a variable named age using the assignment symbol, which is equal symbol. Assign it the value 25. So on this slide, as you can see, age equals 25, or age is assigned the value of 25. Next, we create another variable named name and assign it the value Mike, which is a string. Since 25 is an integer, it doesn't require quotes. However, with a variable like name, which holds a string, we use quotes to inform Python that we want to assign a string value. Now let's switch back to the code to continue with more examples of what we can do with variables, particularly with the print function. In the previous example, we used the print function to print the variable name in the console. However, we can skip the step of passing the variable and directly provide the value to the print function. Let me demonstrate how it can be done. First, we will remove the variable name from the print function. Then we can directly assign the value John to the print function. Now let's summarize what we see on our screen. We have the variable age assigned the value 25, and when we print this variable, the console will display 25 as the result. The variable name is still assigned the value Mike, but the print function now directly takes the assignment John, so the console will display both 25 and John, but not the Mike. Moving forward, let's create a few additional variables to practice further. For instance, I'll create a variable called pi, all in capital letters, to represent a constant. In this case, the value will be 314. It's a good practice to use all capital letters when naming constant values in programming languages, not only in Python. Next, I'll create a variable called temp, short of temperature, and assign it value of -10. It's worth nothing that variable names should reflect the meaning of the value they hold. While temp could refer to temperature or temporary, it would be better to choose a more descriptive name like temperature if we are specifically referring to temperature. Now let's create another variable named speed of light, following the camel case convention. The variable represents the speed of light and will be assigned the value 300 million meters per second. It's approximately. In camel case, we use underscores between words. So in this case, it would be speed, then underscore, then off, again underscore, and light. As another example, let's create a variable named location that holds a multi-line string. We can achieve this using triple quotes. The variable will be printed, resulting in the output displaying the address enclosed within the quotes. Next, we will create a variable called message. The variable will be assigned a string value containing the words top and bottom on separate lines. To achieve this, we use a backslash and n to represent a new line character. When printing the variable, the output will display top followed by a new line and then bottom. The \n used to jump to the line below is called an escape character. We will cover this topic in more detail in future lessons. Moving on, let's create a variable named result that holds the value of an arithmetic expression. The expression involves subtraction, division, and multiplication. Using the order of operation, the division and multiplication take precedence over subtraction. The expression evaluates as follows. 10 minus, then in parentheses we get 2 divided by 8 and multiplied by 4. The division results in 0.25, which is then multiplied by 4, and we get 1. So finally 10 minus 1 equals 9. Now, as a great example, let's combine several items in the print function. We will print the number 13 followed by the string Mike and then a reference to variable name and the variable pi. Let's see what gets printed in the console. After executing the program, you can see that first we received 13, then Mike, which are direct assignments, and then we are referencing the variable name, which is assigned the Mike value, and 314, which is the pi variable. Python directly outputs the values of the variables and constants. Lastly, let's take a look at variable assignment. We previously created the variable result and assigned it the value of arithmetic expression. Now let's create another variable called var1 and assign it the value of the result variable. So when we print var1, we actually printing the value stored in the result variable. In this case, the output will be 9 since the expression evaluates to 9. Before we conclude, let's briefly discuss how to name variables. In Python, you can name variables as you like, but there are certain reserved words that cannot be used for variables names, functions names, class name, and so on. To get a list of reserved words, you can open the command prompt in VS Code terminal and type Python, followed by help keywords. You need to type in exactly as you see on your screen with quotes. To summarize this lesson, I've prepared a few tasks and assignments to you. Take a look at the comments on your screen. If you can complete them on your own, that's great. If you need assistance, let's work on them together. For the first assignment, create a variable named count and assign it an integer value of 5. Next, create a variable named temperature and assign it a floating point value of 22.5. For the following assignment, create a variable using the camel case convention. Let's call it temperature now and assign it the value of the previously created variable temperature. Now let's create a print function that prints the words left and right on separate lines. Use the following code. Print, then in parentheses and quotes, left, then slash, then n, and word right. Next, let's perform a calculation to obtain the result of the expression 5 plus 3 multiplied by 2. Assign this result to the variable result. Remember to choose meaningful variable names and be mindful of data types. Stay tuned for more exciting Python tutorials on our channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to receive notifications for our upcoming Python tutorials. And happy coding!